Welcome to ScaleUp Radio Shorts, the show where we dive back into our recent conversations with inspiring founders and experts to pull out the most valuable lessons for your scaling journey. I'm Kevin Brent.
And I'm Granger Forson, and we're both from Smart 90. In this episode, we're putting two fantastic but very different interviews under the microscope.
That's right. We'll be comparing the insights from Tariq Kazemi, the co-founder of the phenomenal direct-to-consumer skincare brand Bldbro, with the wisdom of Uzma Aitqad, a true expert in organizational change from Magna People Change Consulting.
Two brilliant guests, two very different perspectives on growth. One focused on building an external community, the other on strengthening the internal culture. It's going to be a fascinating discussion.
It really is, Granger. And that's the perfect place to start, isn't it? That fundamental difference in focus. With Tariq and Bldbro, it was all about the external mission from day one.
Absolutely. It wasn't just, let's make a product for bald men. It was, let's change the entire narrative around baldness. He spoke about building the community first, finding out what they actually wanted.
Right.
Which is how they landed on their hero product. I remember him saying that something like 85% of the men they polled wanted a matte finish for their head. That direct feedback drove everything. The mission created the product, not the other way around.
And that mission, championed by three bald co-founders, gives them an incredible commercial moat. It feels authentic. Then you pivot to Uzma, and she comes at it from the complete opposite direction. Her core belief is that 70% of change initiatives fail, not because of the market, but because the internal culture, the people inside the business, aren't ready for it.
Exactly. Her point was that you can invest millions in new technology or a new strategy, but if it isn't adopted by people, as she put it, it's worthless. The focus has to be internal first, ensuring the foundations are strong enough to handle the change you want to implement.
It's such a crucial contrast, the external passion versus the internal plumbing. Both are vital for scale, but they start in very different places.
And that contrast extends to how they view the psychology of change. I was really struck by Tariq's story about a mistake they made. They changed their product size from 75 milliliters down to 60 milliliters for sound commercial reasons.
A classic scaling decisions.
But he said their earliest, most loyal customers felt a sense of betrayal. It was a really powerful word. It shows the intense emotional connection that an external, community-focused brand can build. He learned that he couldn't get bogged down justifying the change to his first 700 customers when his goal was to acquire 500,000.
That's such a sharp insight. It's that painful transition from a small, tight-knit community to a mass market brand. And again, look at how Uzma approaches the psychology of change. It's not about customer emotion, but employee emotion. And she brings in this established framework, the change curve.
Right, the denial, anger, exploration, that whole journey.
Exactly. She provides a map for the internal psychological journey that people go through during a big transformation. She's not reacting to a feeling of betrayal. She's proactively managing an anticipated journey of resistance and fear. She talked about how leaders must address the fear of the unknown, especially around job security with digital transformations.
It's the difference between navigating an unexpected emotional storm with customers and carefully planning a safe passage for your employees through a predicted one. Very, very different skill sets.
Which leads nicely into leadership, doesn't it? Uzma's work is all about that transition for leaders, helping founders go from being the doers, the ones with all the answers, to being empowering leaders who can guide their teams through uncertainty.
Yeah, she mentioned that critical point around the 10-employee mark, where the founder can no longer be across everything. That loss of control is terrifying for many, and she helps them manage that personal change.
And you contrast that with Tariq's story of growth. He talked about their 800% growth spurt. It sounded less like a structured, empowering transition and more like sheer force of will. Intense personal effort from the founders to just hang on and manage the rocket ship or so.
Absolutely. It's the raw, in-the-trenches reality of hypergrowth. It's not necessarily about elegant leadership theory at that point. It's about survival and execution speed.
And both are valid, of course, but what Uzma highlights is that the brute force approach has a ceiling. For growth to be sustainable, that evolution in leadership style from doer to empowerer has to happen eventually.
Speaking of sustainability, let's talk about structure and discipline. Again, two different flavors. With Bldbro, Tariq mentioned the structure of having three co-founders. He said it helped break the tension and enabled what he called healthy conflict.
That's such a valuable point. Having that trusted structure at the top allows for better decision-making, and their discipline was forged in the fire of fundraising, wasn't it? They were forced to learn sophisticated metrics like lifetime value and cost of acquisition.
That's right. It wasn't innate. It was a learned discipline driven by necessity. and I was impressed by how they used their seed round. Not on quick return performance marketing, but on big strategic brand building plays like national radio and out-of-home campaigns to really define their category.
A very disciplined, long-term view. Now, Uzma's approach to discipline is more about the process of change itself. She used that brilliant analogy of turning a large tanker.
Yes, small consistent changes over time, not one massive jarring leap.
Precisely. Her discipline is about gradual managed change, decoding the risk, introducing structure to manage fear, and moving steadily. And I think her ultimate goal speaks volumes about her philosophy on structure. She wants to build change management capability inside her clients' organizations.
So they become less reliant on consultants like her. That's the end game, isn't it? Building a sustainable internal structure that can handle change on its own.
That brings up another crucial area, communication. Tariq's style, born from building a public community, is radically transparent. He's communicating directly with his tribe, and they expect that raw honesty.
Uzma's communication, on the other hand, is highly strategic and internal. It's about crafting the right message for the right internal audience at the right time to manage the change curve. It's less about raw transparency and more about psychological safety and clarity for employees. You can't just dump all the raw data on the team. You have to frame it.
That's a brilliant distinction, and it raises a critical question. Is it a case of choosing one path over the other, or is there a way to blend these two approaches? It seems to me that the most resilient companies probably do both.
Absolutely. A strong internal culture, as championed by Uzma, becomes the engine room that can actually deliver on the promises made to the external community that Tariq builds. If your internal team is chaotic and fearful of change, they can't possibly serve a passionate, demanding customer base effectively. The internal health directly impacts the external experience. That's a great point, and it brings up the idea of red flags. For instance, a key red flag for a company neglecting its internal culture would be high employee turnover, especially among long-serving team members during a growth spurt. It suggests the internal systems are breaking down.
But it is. So when you boil it all down, we have two incredible stories of scaling. Tariq and Bldbro show the power of an external mission, building a passionate community and navigating the chaotic, high-speed reality of explosive D2C growth.
While Uzma provides the blueprint for internal resilience, she reminds us that no matter how brilliant your market strategy is, if your people and culture can't adapt and adopt the change, you'll eventually hit a wall. It's the classic battle of external opportunity versus internal capability.
A fantastic summary. There were so many more gems in both of those conversations. We really do encourage everyone to listen to the full interviews. Just search for ScaleUp Radio wherever you get your podcasts.
And while you're there, be sure to follow the show so you don't miss any of our future episodes. To learn more about the Smart 90 system and how we help businesses scale effectively, you can visit us at smart90.co.uk.
Thanks again for tuning in to ScaleUp Radio Shorts. See you next time.